Greetings, ladies and gentlefish. Today's subscriber replays are going to be all about German heavy tanks. We're starting off with British B in his Tiger 1, and then later on we're going to go to the Tiger 1's kid brother. So this is Prokhorovka, or is it Fiery Salient? Prokhorovka this time, rather than the reskin. It's a tier 7 game, so British B is top tier, and there's no artillery on the enemy team, which is very good if you're playing a top tier heavy tank, because artillery tends to make you very, very sad indeed. Now initially I'm just going to speed this along a little bit, because watching heavy tanks ponderously get into position on this map can be rather tedious, is the word I'm looking for. So British is coming over to the hill, which is potentially quite a powerful location. Especially in encounter, a bit less so on a standard game, but it does still have its uses. M4 Sherman has been sighted, a second M4 Sherman has been sighted, and British is going to turn this big old 88mm gun onto him. And there goes half his health. Oh, poor tier 5s facing off against tier 7s. I do feel sorry for him sometimes. Oh well, there we go. Now, the enemy have some tanks up on the top of this hill. They also have a Tiger 1 who's down around G4. And there's that Sherman. And there goes that Sherman for kill number 1. Now you do have to be a little bit careful coming up this incline. I have no idea what this M6 thinks he's doing. There's kill number 2. You do have to be a little bit careful coming up the incline of this hill in case people shoot you from where that T150 is. And there we go, there's a 122mm round from an IS that takes out British B's engine. If you go a little bit over toward the edge of the map, then you can shield yourself from some of that fire. Over where that comet is, there's a few undulations and depressions you can use to try and shield your tank. It works better in something like the Comet because it's lower profile than the Tiger. But it also takes you further out of or close to the edge of the render range of anybody who is down in sort of F5, and who therefore might be likely to put shots into your flank. Comet takes out the Panzer IV-H. T1 Heavy is getting worked over in the side though. I'm not quite sure who that is. It looks like a 75mm gun or something. T-34-85 has been spotted and is probably not long for this world. Can British reload in time? This gun does reload very quickly, but not quite that quickly. Front of the turret and gun mantler on a KV-1. This gun has 203mm of penetration. It does not care. It is going to blitz through a KV-1's turret front with no difficulty. However, British is taking a bit of fire in the side. KV-85, and there we go. This gun is very, very good. Tiger tank isn't really my cup of tea, but the gun it gets is splendid. One more shot to kill this guy, and there we go. There's the IS, presumably the guy who shot British in the flank earlier on. There's another Tiger, and from these sort of ranges, this is where the Tiger excels. Where you just put this gun to work and blitz people. T150 looks like he has the derp gun, and he's now taking fire. He doesn't like that position, can't say I really blame him. IS from earlier on, there we go. And British is no longer spotted. He is just going to keep pumping shot after shot into these guys and giving them a very bad day. T150 dies. IS is now a 2-shot for British. Make that a 1-shot. And dead. And T29 has been spotted. T29 is AFK in the capture circle. I feel a little bit sorry for the enemy team in this situation. T29, top tier heavy tank, very, very strong top tier heavy tank, and he's just AFK. And British is just going to blind fire this guy. I'd have kept blind firing him because it looked he was AFK. But British is actually going to come over and help this Comet against the KV-1, which is arguably the better choice. But, you could do either. As it is, Comet dies, KV-1 is down to 77 health. British crests this ridge and bounces! Yay! Ramming speed, Mr. Johnson! Goodbye, little Tiger. Not Tiger, sorry, KV-1. Alas, British's driver manages to brain himself in the collision, but British puts him back in. T29 is on 33 health, but British doesn't have a shot on him at the moment. T29 is dead. Panther is over on the other side of the map at K3 and is surrounded, and there's lots of good guys or bad guys around him, whatever. Doesn't look like he's long for this world, and he is down. And that was the game. There we go. Tiger Tank, Prokhorovka, shooting all of the bad guys. Let's go and see how well British did. That ended up being First Class Mastery, Fighter, and Fire for Effect, High Caliber, and Tank Sniper for British there. He did 3,981 damage, 4 kills, 1,203 experience. You might have thought basically 4,000 damage was worth more experience than that, but a lot of the targets British was shooting at, or some of them at least, he wasn't spotting himself, so other people would have been taking the spotting damage for those targets and getting a share of the experience. C'est la vie. 18 shots fired, 18 hits, only 1 shot bounced. That was the shot on the move against the KV-1 toward the end. Damage from 3,981 from a distance of more than 300 meters, 2,734. Didn't really bounce much, but ended up having a pretty brutal game. 26,246 credit. Profit would have been 47,000 with a premium account. So, a very nice game overall there from British. Let's go and have a look at the Tiger's little younger brother now. Here we go with the second game. This is courtesy of Cartoon Villain, and he is in the Tier 5 German heavy tank, the VK3001H. Not a particularly well-liked machine, but a tank that I think has quite a lot in common with the Tiger. It's boxy, it's sluggish, the armour is not particularly great, but you can get some bounces if you angle it, and the tank is really all about the gun. So, again, top tier. It's a Tier 5 game, Tier 5 tank. Nice. You can see Cartoon Villain has 2 marks of excellence on this already. Each mark of excellence for the Germans gives you 3 rings. So that's 6 rings, 2 marks of excellence. So he does like and do well in the VK3001H. We're here on Cliff, and he's actually going to go to this central valley. Central? The 1 and 2 lines. I mean that sort of valley area. Now that's a little bit unusual. You don't tend to see heavy tanks go to this region. It's often infested with tank destroyers, and lately medium tanks who rush to where that T-34 is rushing to. And heavy tanks tend to get a little bit caught out if they come over here. Having said that, there's a target. This is a lower tier game, of course. It's a Tier 5 game, so the same sort of rules don't necessarily apply all the time. And the VK is certainly capable of playing more as a support fire machine rather than a direct in your face heavy tank. It really doesn't have particularly good armour, certainly not as good as tanks such as the KV-1 or the Churchill. And there's the enemy VK. And if this guy's just going to sit here, woohoo, he is apparently going to get shut down by artillery. Damn. Blind shot there at the Chi-Nu. And again, if this guy's not going to find any cover, this gun is perfectly capable of ripping him apart. I mean, this is the 75mm Waffe gun that you also find, well, it's also perfectly serviceable at Tier 6 on the VK3601H, and you also used to find on the Aufklärungspanzerpanther, the old Tier 7 German light tank at Tier 7. Tier 7 at Tier 7? Who'd have thunk? Anyway, that Chi-Nu has been taken down. And well, there's another Chi-Nu down there. The enemy team, sorry, the friendly and enemy teams are having a bit of a scrap up by the hill, which usually happens, and the friendly team has a Hetzer who is team damaging. Hurrah! Now you might say, yeah, it might only be the 1 shot, you know, don't be too harsh on him. Yeah, he's turned blue, it takes effort to turn blue. Or it takes team damage in the capture circle, which indeed might be the case. In fact, he might even have just been banned for it, because it doesn't look like he's moving particularly far. Incoming Chi-Nu, and an M4 actually picks up the kill. So far, Cartoon Villain's picked up a nice amount of damage, but he hasn't actually been rewarded with any kills. KV-1 is just around the corner. Now you have to be a little bit careful when coming around to engage people over here, because they often have friends in the background giving them a hand. Turret, yeah. With 157, I think? 157mm of average penetration. KV-1, suddenly its armour doesn't really look quite as good anymore. Now, Cartoon Villain did lose about 1/3 of his health. In fact, exactly 1/3 of his health, in order to put that damage onto the KV-1. Like I said, they generally have friends hanging around in the background at a kind of mirrored position to where Cartoon Villain is here. Now, the enemy team has moved around the hill and kind of enveloped Cartoon's team at E6, that sort of region. So, Cartoon Villain, he spotted this, he's kept his eyes. He's kept his eyes, I'm not going to go all Australian on you, on the mini-map, and he's going to do something about it. And he starts by executing that A20, and now there's a Ram 2. Tracks the guy. I mean, he wasn't aiming to, he's just aiming for centre of mass, but there we go. It serves the purpose, because now this guy just can't get out of the way, unless he uses a repair kit, and that was a very unexpected bounce. 155, and there we go, Cartoon Villain picks up kill number 2. So, the friendly team who went to the sort of mountain region, I guess you'd say, have been comprehensively beaten. The scoreline is even now, but bear in mind it looks like that Hetzer is AFK. Well, it looks like that Hetzer might have been banned. So it's likely that Cartoon's team is actually at least one tank down, regardless of what the scoreline will tell you. Panzer 2G, oh, it's just a little tier 3. Leave him alone, you big bully. Poor guy. I mean, nah. Oh well. Now, I don't know what gun he's using. He's actually bouncing off Cartoon Villain's kind of flat side armor here. But there we go. Now you can see Cartoon Villain's actually burning through his ammunition. This thing doesn't get vast amounts of ammo. Ooh, BDR, that guy needs to die. And Cartoon takes a shot in the side, which is awkward, and there goes the BDR. He takes another shot in the side, and another one that takes out his gunner. Something has to be done about that T-50. Puts his gunner back in, but the T-50 pulls back behind a rock. Cartoon is now on 4 kills. What have we got left? Well, all of the enemy tanks are now either artillery or lower tier. So actually this situation is not as bad as it might at first appear. Cartoon has managed to kill the biggest threats, I guess you'd say, as he executes that poor Panzer II. And there's a Marder 30AT. Now, the one disadvantage with this gun, really, is that it can't pack any high explosive ammo, which would have probably made this Marder a faster kill. But there we go. It doesn't really make much difference in the end. There's Cartoon Villain's Top Gun. 10 rounds of armor-piercing ammo left. He also has 10 rounds of APCR, not that he needs it. What is the penetration with APCR on this gun? 221, if you ever need that at tier 5. Holy crud. Ooh, misses that T-50. Aims the next shot more carefully. T-50 should be moving. T-50 is dead. Now, there's still that enemy artillery, so it's not as if Cartoon Villain is invulnerable here. The armour on this tank is not particularly good, but it's more than enough to shrug off whatever an M2 medium's going to throw at you. Don't know where that medium is. The guy on Last Bob, the T-34 driver, is informing Cartoon that he rocks. Well, he is on 7 kills. He's killed half the enemy team at this point. As well as a shed ton of damage. So, we don't know where that M2 medium is. He hasn't been spotted yet, which indicates he might be AFK and sitting at the base, which would be a bit of a shame, but there we go. There's the artillery, and good night, Artie. There's kill number 8. One guy left, it's just that M2 medium. Is he AFK at the base? Can we find him? We shall find out. Panzer 4H is moving up into the enemy base. There's the M2 medium tank. Cartoon Villain takes aim, puts a shot in. Can he pick up the kill? Ah, Panzer 4 finishes the guy off. That was the game. And yes, that was 8 kills. Let's go and have a look at the post-battle results. As you can see there, that was a very nice game indeed. Cartoon Villain managed to pick up his... Is that the second? Or is that the... That looks like the 3rd mark of excellence. Very well done. 3 marks of excellence on the VK3001H. Not a particularly well-loved machine, I must say. So very well done with that. Ace Tanker, Fire for Effect, Duelist, Bruiser. I don't even know what that medal is. Oh, that's the Naidins medal for killing enemy light tanks. They keep changing what the medal looks like, and I always fail to recognise it. Naidins, Top Gun, High Caliber, and a Radley Walters medal. That's a bit of a mouthful. 2,261 damage done, 8 kills, 1,164 base experience, and that shed load of awards. 29 shots fired, 24 hits, 21 penetrations, 2,261 damage, which at tier 5 is a lot. About half of that, well, slightly over half, was from a distance of more than 300 meters. 300 assistance damage into the bargain, a 22,000 credit profit. With a premium account, that would have been a 37,000 credit profit. That was a damn well played game. And a very, very nice result to boot. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that pair of games in German heavy tanks. If you did, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.